enter into this space. We start with these traditional words. Blessed is God, ruler of the universe, who forms us in the image of divinity, who nourishes and sustains us in goodness, and who causes us to die in accordance with holy decree, and who is implanted within us immortal life. Blessed is God, judge of truth, and the Kamata Bova Shalom, may live to come to her eternal home in peace. The psalmist said, I lift up my eyes unto the mountains, and asked, from whence will my help come? My help comes from God, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot give way, your guardian will not sleep. See, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. God is your guardian, God is your protection at your right hand. By day, the sun will not strike you, nor the moon by night. God will guard you from all harm. God will guard your life, your coming, and your going, now and forevermore. Let us find comfort in the words of the ancient sage. God, what are we that you are mindful of us? Or indeed, those who come after us and you take account. Our lives are as vanity, for our days pass away as a shadow. In the morning we flourish and blossom forth. In the evening we are cut down and wither. You turn us to contrition and demand return, O ye children, if you are wise, or you consider your end. When you die, you shall carry nothing away. Your glory shall not descend after you. But trust this. God does redeem the souls of the servants. None of them who trust shall be forsaken. And the more contemporary poet urges us thusly, let the thoughts of this moment be thoughts of tenderness and gratitude. Tenderness because of the person in whose memory we are now gathered. Gratitude for all that has been lovable throughout the years. Tenderness toward every human frailty. Gratitude for a life known intimately and held in honor. Gratitude for strong ties of family affection. Gratitude for the privilege of knowing and of sharing with one another thus the experiences of joy and sorrow. Gratitude for opportunities to help and care for one another, which enable us to believe that our lives count. We would not be spared the consciousness of sorrow and loss, for as our experience deepens, so too does our understanding and our empathy for one another. We pray this. May we win from our joys and sorrows the wisdom of patience and sympathy, the courage to live faithfully, and the confidence that dark hours may have precious meanings. And may we gain a deepened sense of the sacredness and beauty of a life well lived. We affirm Hatzor Tamim Polo Ki Kol Drachak Mishpat. Thy work, O God, is perfect, for all thy ways are justice. God of faithfulness, and without iniquity, just and right. Who can say, what doest thou? Thou bringest death and givest life. What mortal can demand of thee? What hast thou wrought? Thou alone, O God, just righteously apportion both life and death. In thy hands is the destiny of all souls. Thou wilt not forget us. Thy mercy will surely abide with us. Baruch Dayan Emet. Blessed art thou, judge of truth, who dost ordain death and summon us to life. Life offers us the gift of many blessings. None is more precious than the love of family and friends. In the strength and compassion of parents, in the mutual devotion of husband and wife, of brother and sister, we find the security of love. The landscape of our years is peopled by the presence of open hearts that accept no price for the gift of themselves. So when a loved one dies, sadness, despair are normal responses. Two people cannot share the best and worst of life and find that absence is trivial. The sadness, the pain that you are feeling today at Linda's death is a tribute of love and the pain of separation. And so we've gathered in this large and loving assembly to pay tribute to Linda's life and give honor to her memory. Questions may come to mind, questions of why, questions for which there are no easy answers. But this is as it should be. Linda planned this part of her life to take care of you, Jerry, and she did a great job. She advocated for you and cared for you and brought you back to health in your life with love and determination. So why this? Why now? These are the questions that ring in our heads, in our hearts. Thankfully, we come from a tradition that expects its rabbis to frame questions more than it answers them, because I have no answer for you. But dear friends, I do know this. The passing of time and the storehouse of cherished memories can soften our grief and bring the answering love that gives meaning to our days. And so we will tell stories now. We will remember. The remembrances you shared with me brought smiles to your voices and even a few laughs as you figured over whether you two have been together for 67 or 69 years. The stories of Vegas and bingo and Maj and family football pools were all in the same vein. They were happy, joyful, sustaining stories. Your voices swelled with pride as you enumerated Linda's many years of volunteer service both at Montefiore and Menorah. I like to think of her turning the love of her movies into 20 years at Paramount in 20th century. And I like to think of it as a clue to the determined and perhaps quirky sides of your personality. We're all going to hear from the boys, from Howard and Craig in a minute. I'm grateful that you feel so moved to speak lovingly of your mother. We're going to hear from Linda's daughters-in-laws and grandchildren as well. She was devoted to all of you. It's a great pleasure being the heart of her family. Please, I'd love you to take the floor.
Hi, I'm Craig. I'm Linda's youngest son. I want to thank everyone for coming to help us remember and celebrate Linda's life and to support Jerry and our entire family. As many of you know, Linda wasn't always the closest person, easiest person to get close to. She definitely had a tone and was not afraid to speak her mind. But what many people don't realize is the very difficult upbringing in childhood that my mom had. My mom's wife, Clara, died when Linda was 2. Her father, Edward, was an alcoholic who moved around more than you could ever imagine. Linda spent time with many relatives who helped raise her. She was mainly raised by my cousins Leo and Dorothy in Milwaukee. Clearly not the childhood or upbringing that any of us would want. But underneath that tough exterior, Linda was extremely kind, loving, and generous. She loved volunteering at Menorah Park, even though she would constantly complain about it. She also loved working in her yard, gardening, and taking great pride in her vegetables. Linda loved her cousins. I know many of them had. She would always talk about the cousins' summer picnics, and then I would ask why some of the people in the family photo didn't have the obligatory white cousin t-shirt on. Linda would pause, not very long, and say, "They aren't cousins." This would result in all of us laughing on the floor with her for the next 20 minutes. Of all of her cousins, cousin Marilyn was her closest. They were like sisters. They spent countless weekends having lunch together and then going to garage and estate sales. This would lead her and Marilyn to bragging about the priceless items that they would bring home. Being me, if you know me, I had to be a little sarcastic, and I couldn't help myself. And I asked Mom, how much did you pay for these treasures? Linda's smile would radiate, and all of a sudden she'd stand up straight and took great pride. And she would then say, "Craig, the person was asking $5, but I got him down to 50 cents. Jerry would just shake his head, and then the rest of us would laugh together with her for another 20 minutes. Linda also loved her grandchildren immensely. Jerry and Cameron, Alex, Aaron, and my stepson, Zach. Both Howard and I living out of town, lunch and dinners with Alex and Aaron. We lived through. And I want to thank both of you for all the time you spent. I know you had busy schedules, and it's often easy to say to your grandparents, "I'm too busy, let's do it another time." You almost never did that. She loved you more than you'll ever realize, and I really appreciate it. And I know you will do everything to help Jerry. Linda also loved laughing and spending time and spoiling, I want to add, my stepson, Zach, who she and Jerry accepted into their lives along with Becky, and immediately and absolutely loved and adored. But Linda's greatest love was my dad, Jerry. They were married 63 years and never left each other's side through good and bad. I will tell you, they didn't have many tangible things when they started their lives together. They lived, their first place was together on a third floor attic walk-up. But their love for each other never wavered. It wasn't always easy for them, and trust me, Linda was great to us that. But they worked hard together, and they are what I consider to be the real definition of success by any metric you could imagine. When Jerry had serious health issues of his own this past year, culminating with a heart valve repair a few months ago, Linda was his rock. She drove him everywhere and did an amazing job of managing his care. She was also extremely protective of Jerry to make sure he was safe and healthy. Extremely protective of Jerry. Dad, we are all here for you, and we'll do the best we can to help fill this large void in your life. We love you. Finally, Mom, I want to thank you. Thank you for always being there, loving me, and doing what I know was your absolute best to raise me. I love you.
As Craig mentioned, I want to thank everybody for being here today to help celebrate the life of Linda Mom Mintz. I'm sure everyone here today has a story they could tell about Linda, whether it's about her love of her family, reading, gardening, trips to Vegas, or even her strong opinions, which I'm sure everybody in here has encountered at one time in their life. One thing about Mom was she always cared about her entire family and close friends. She adored her grandchildren, Darian, Cameron, Alex, Aaron, and recently Zach. Mom never missed a birthday, anniversary, graduation, or any other special occasion. She always made it a point to go to the board for everybody, which is great for the family. This is how she showed she cared. Mom was extremely competitive when it came to football. We had an annual winner take-all football pool for over 40 years, and Mom was always about winning. God forbid you would miss your picks. You would hear about it that morning. I need your picks now, even though it was 7 days before the game. Several of our best times were when we were all enjoying one of her delicious home-cooked meals. Who here had the experience to have Linda's home cooking? She was an amazing cook. We would sit and laugh about past events in our lives. Mom could have 4 people over for dinner and cook enough food for 25 or 30 people. One thing that couldn't happen during dinner was for the phone to ring. We used to pity the person, family, relative, cousin, aunt, uncle, friend, who would call during family dinner. She would get on the phone and say, quote, "We are having family dinner. Jerry can't talk right now," which always brought a laugh to all of us and lots of teasing and ribbing and laughing. She loved estate sales, as Craig had mentioned, and insisted she didn't collect salt and pepper shakers, but at last count she had well over 150 pairs of salt and pepper shakers. Over the past 30 years, my wife Lisa and I took many trips to her favorite destinations. We went on cruises with Mom and Dad, Las Vegas, and once we moved to Florida, Mom and Dad would visit regularly. I would meet Mom annually in Vegas. One story I like to tell is the time cousin Marilyn Weinberg actually joined us. We were sitting in the Bellagio near the sports book during an Ohio State football game. I assumed they were playing slots, and Ohio State scored a touchdown to beat the spread, and I screamed, "Touchdown Ohio State, I won the money." Mom turned to me and said, "Be quiet, Cousin Marilyn is sleeping." I said, "You're in the middle of a Las Vegas casino, not a library." Everybody laughed, and to this day we always still talk about that story. One other quick Vegas story. I took Mom and Dad to Vegas to see the Blues Brothers at the Mirage for Dad's 65th birthday. After the show, it was so hot in the casino, we ordered a round of drinks. Dad ordered ginger ale since Dad didn't drink. It was so hot, he chugged the drink. Little did he know that what he was drinking was whiskey and ginger ale. Dad doesn't drink, and the expression on his face was absolutely priceless. Mom and I laughed all night, seeing Dad a bit tipsy, and that's the only time in my 60 years being alive I've ever seen Dad a little bit like this. When I was in middle school and high school, I thought Mom had the coolest job at Paramount Pictures. It was amazing to see movie screenings prior to them being released. I can recall such famous movies as Risky Business, An Officer and a Gentleman, Close Encounters, Star Wars, Howard Stern, 3 different types of Some Kind of Wonderful, to name a few. She was extremely proud to be able to sit and review a movie prior to it being released to the general public. I could go on and on about Mom and what a wonderful person she was and how much she'll be missed. I just want to make sure everybody here today remembers all the good times each of you shared with Linda. And at this time I'd like to call up my wife, Lisa.
So my story is going to be brief. We have a recurring theme. You're going to hear it probably over and over from all of us, but I wanted to take a minute to maybe share a couple stories that come to mind. And of course, this was just so unexpected, and it's just going to help to keep compiling these stories and these memories. But when I first started dating Howard, when we were in high school, well, I was in high school, he was in college, I would call over to the house, and Linda would answer the phone, and I knew Howard was home because he told me to call, and she would tell me he's not home, and I didn't know this lady, and I would say, "I know he's there, he told me to call," and then she would go, "Oh, okay," and she put me through. And I said, "Linda, why are you not putting me through to Howard?" And she would go, "There's just too many girls calling all the time." So finally she got to know me, and I think she put all my calls through, and I'll always remember that. And when I think about that moment, it also reminds me of that when Howard and I got engaged. He proposed to me at the house when Linda was there, and she was the very first person I got to kind of go over the shock of saying yes. So I'll always have fun moments about that. When I think about Linda, I think about all the meals, tons of meals, around the dining room table, in the back in the patio, the barbecues. She was such an amazing cook. I asked her to teach me how to make her brisket. It just falls apart, right? So she comes to my house, we make the brisket. It wasn't that good. She was right there. I swear to God, she left something out. So I never tried it again. She just wanted me to come to her house and just drool over her brisket that just melts in your mouth. She had such an amazing way with food too. Like whoever thought green olives with tomatoes just go great in potato salad. Her twist on her twist with food and enticing the family was always just so much fun. My first exposure with gambling came up Linda as well, going to bingo halls with her, watching her get like a stack of instant tickets, and she'd be busy. She had a whole system of how she scratched them off and how she bought them and which ones and what she won. That woman was very lucky though. She wins a lot of times. We went to Vegas, we walked around slot machines. I'm not much of a gambler, but if she told me to play that slot, it typically won. If I said, let's play that one, not so much. We love to go shopping together. If it wasn't the flea markets, garage sales, Black Fridays, she loved her shoes, so fun. She always had to get 2 pairs. I couldn't do it, but always 2 pairs. If she found something she liked, she had to get 2 because they're going to be great. She wants to have both of them. Her snuggly socks and her slippers. These are the memories that I always remember. And this list will keep going. So thank you for listening, and we're going to all miss her and share these memories forever. Thank you. I'm going to introduce my niece. My niece is up right now, Alex and Aaron, Craig's children. Thank you.
Hi everyone, we are Craig's daughters, Alex and Erin, and I was Linda's favorite granddaughter. We want to first start off by thanking you all for coming. Grandma is definitely looking down on all of us smiling.
As many people have already said, Grandma's pride and joy in her life were her children and grandchildren. Even after her rough beginnings, family and giving meant the most to her. We truly don't remember a time that we left their house empty-handed, whether that be with toys, leftovers, or even extra spending money. That is just how Grandma was, beyond generous and thoughtful. Growing up with Grandma and Grandpa just around the corner, we could spend 30 minutes up here talking about all the memories we have had together. But we know our time is limited, so we promise to keep it brief.
If you are a friend of Aaron or mine, you knew that Wednesday night was dinner with the grandparents. No matter how busy our schedules got, on Wednesdays we knew we were going to be together. As you can imagine, that required eating at a lot of different restaurants. We eventually sat down in their dining room and flipped through the Cleveland Entertainment book to build a list of places to try. These places included one of Cleveland's finest, the Hometown Buffet, Linda's favorite. These dinners always ended with a card tournament. We had it down to a system. Grandma went to grab the pen and paper, Grandpa got the cards, and Erin grabbed what Grandma called her rack, since she was too little to hold all of the cards in her hand. These card tournaments often got competitive, but most times ended in a win for Team G&G.
If it wasn't a Wednesday night dinner, it was either a Jewish holiday or a family get-together. No matter the occasion, Grandma and Grandpa were our first call to make plans. Not only did Grandma love having everyone together for a holiday dinner, she loved spending hours in the kitchen cooking, as it was one of her favorite hobbies. Even up until this past Thanksgiving, Grandma insisted on making a brisket for us, even though our meal was being catered. Most recently, Alex attempted to make Grandma's famous brisket recipe for a group of people. It turned out to be practically inedible. Not even a week later, Grandma insisted on having Alex over to learn step by step how to properly make her brisket. Like others have said, if you take away anything about our Grandma from this speech, it should be to never call the house phone during holiday dinner. She hated having family time interrupted.
As many of you know, Grandma was an avid gardener. Every summer, we'd spend countless hours outside watering and learning about all of the plants they had, even when we were too young to truly understand or care. We even got our own VIP experience at Petiti's Garden Center, picking out whatever we wanted to plant. Every ounce of our green thumbs comes from Grandma. During retirement, Grandma wanted to give back. She instilled the importance of this in us. She spent many years volunteering at Menorah Park in the gift and snack shop. She loved building relationships with the staff and residents and would talk about them as if we knew them.
Over the years, it has been truly inspirational to watch the love that Grandma and Grandpa had for one another. They would tell us all the time how they have known each other since the ages of 13 and 15. Alex and I would just shake our heads, trying to imagine being married to someone that we met during bar and bat mitzvah season. They truly loved each other, and it showed. Grandpa, we want you to know that we are here to support you, not just to help you with your phone and tablet. We will always be just around the corner or a phone call away. We look forward to continuing Wednesday night dinners, apple picking, and spending quality time together. We love you.
Grandma, we promise to keep Grandpa in line and keep his inappropriate jokes to a minimum. We promise that family traditions will continue and that your brisket recipe will live on forever. You mean the absolute world to us. We love and miss you more than words can say. I think Cameron and Darian.
Hello there. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I can talk for hours about but the number one thing is family. Our favorite word in the world, if you did not know, is Jerry. As not only did he love myself, Aaron, Alex, Greg, Howard, but there's number one person in the world, and that is my grandfather, Jerry Mintz. Staying together, bringing family together, and I feel honored to have been one of the people that she taught how to cook. I never mastered the brisket, so again, we won't talk too much about that, but I feel like one of the people that every favorite food in the world that I have ever had has been learned from her, from lemon, just by itself, chicken piccata, many desserts, harosis, but again, she had amazing first, and I still don't know
when she lied to me whether or not her Bubby's Pickles, which when I was a child, Bubby I thought was her nickname, and that she manufactured them herself, but whether or not it was to save me sodium or because they were like $500 pickles, it was, again, always going to Grandma for dinner, and especially on holidays. I have many memories that I'm sure many share, but family holiday, family dinners, that was, I feel, the number one thing. And going back to her roots at Paramount Pictures, many other studios, I feel honored to be able to share that as someone who works at Universal Studios and carry on that tradition of working at a movie studio and continue that tradition as well. I pick up my handy ship, of course, from my Grandpa Jerry, but be able to share that with the rest of the world really does honor me. Darian.
I'm gonna be quick. There's so many people here. Thank you guys so much for coming and supporting my grandmother. It means a lot to our family, and I'm sure it would have meant a lot to her. So thank you very much. It shows you cared about my grandma Linda. I'm gonna be very quick. We all loved her very much. My grandpa, thank you for everything. And you had 62 years together. Her favorite movie was P.S. I Love You, and P.S. She Loved You Too. So I'm gonna keep it short. Thank you guys so much for coming. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
May Linda's memory endure among us all as a blessing. In your own time, O God, when we too are called to enter eternity, may we lead this life secure in the faith that with you is the fountain of life, that in your light we shall see life. The dust returns to the earth as it was, the spirit to the one who gave it. And it is written that she has achieved much, who has lived well, laughed often, and loved with a full heart, who has gained the respect of the wise and the trust of the young, who has filled a place, accomplished some task, who has left the world better than she found it, who has appreciated the true and the beautiful, and has looked for the good in others and given of the good that she had, whose life was an inspiration, and we pray that her memory be a benediction. And each of us here knew Linda in different ways, those she loved and those who loved her. Let us take a moment for silent remembrance. Amen. I'm going to ask you if you are seated and are able to rise. If you're not able to rise, please stay seated. El Mole Rachamim, Shochein Bamromim. Amsei Menucha Nechona Tachat Kanfei Hashchina, and Kedoshim Utohovim Kezoha Harakia, Masadim et Nishmat Leah Malka, Bat Yitzchak V'Klara, Shahakala Olama. Ba'al Harachamim Yasirehu B'Seiter Kedafav Olamim, Yitzur V'Tzur HaChaim et Nishmata. Adonai Hu Nachalata V'Tanuach V'Shalom HaMishkava, V'Lomar. Amen. O God, full of compassion, thou who dwellest on high, grant perfect rest unto the soul of Linda Mintz, who has departed this world. Source of mercy, bring her into your presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. Be thou her possession, may her repose be peace. And let us all say, Amen. So we continue with the ancient hallowed words of Kaddish. When we ask in our grief, whence shall come our help and our comfort? And in the strength of faith, let us answer, our help comes from God. Please join me if you are able. Kedah, Kadash, Yalma, Divra, Hirte, Yamlet, Valete, V'chayecha, Yirecho, V'chayet, V'chol Beit Yisrael, V'agalah, V'zman Karev, V'yimru, Amen. Yehei Shmei Rabba Mibarach, V'olam Tomei Amaya, Yitbarach, V'yishtabach, V'yitfahar, V'yitomam, V'yitnaser. V'it hadar, v'it ale, v'it halal, shmei kudusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushkata v'nechamata. Damilan ba'alma v'niru. Amen. Yehi shlomo rabba min shmaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. Yaseh shalom v'rama. V'yaseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn and send comfort to all who are bereaved emotions. Amen. Please be seated. We pray thus. O God, author of life and death, our wisdom is small, our vision short. One by one, our companions passing along the road of life disappear from our view. We know that each must walk the same path to the doorway of the grave. We're straight to see what lies beyond the gate, but all is darkness to our mortal sight. But for you, even the darkness is not too dark. For you, with O God, with you the light shines, the night shines as night. You created us in your image, and formed us to share in your enduring righteousness. You put eternity into our hearts, and planted within us the influences of love and devotion. This hope we cherish in humility and faith, trusting in your endless goodness and your wondrous love. We commit Linda's spirit into your hands, and keep faith with your children in death as in life. Will you join me, please, in the 23rd Psalm? The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Please know that immediately following services today, until 9 o'clock this evening, the Mintz family will receive at the Acacia, the Green Apartments, 2202 Acacia Park Drive, in the social room. It is written that we should not fear death, for we are destined to die. We share it with all who ever lived, with all who will ever be. Bewail the dead, hide not your grief, do not restrain your mourning. But remember, continuing sorrow is worse than death. When the dead are at rest, let their memory rest. Be consoled when the soul departs. Death is better than a life of constant pain, and eternal rest than constant sickness. Seek not to understand why. It is too difficult for you. Search not for what is beyond you. Be not overoccupied with what is hidden from you, for you have been shown more than you can understand. As a drop of water in the sea, as a grain of sand on the shore, are a person's few days in eternity. The good things in life last for limited days, but a good name endures forever.